Alright guys, so in this video I want to show you how I solo the Shogun with Embrys. I actually soloed Shogun with Embrys for a very long time. Then, we found out that Embrys can solo it. I was actually trying to optimize it and I was able to, and it is actually very surprising. Now, why should you solo the Shogun? The reason for it is that we have a Gear Ascension tournament going on right now. Okay, the Gear Ascension tournament, here you can see it, and the way to get points for it is to farm either Sand Devil or the Shogun. Now, if you farm the Shogun, you will get slightly more points, because as you can see, the greater extracts and superior extracts give 2 more points, right, per extract, and it's slightly better, so a little bit more energy efficient. And if you solo the Shogun right now, you can also get points for the deck. Now, I already flipped like 30 cards, and I did a Soulstone opening video for it. So if you want to, go ahead and check it out. I will put it in the description below and also here in the info card. So feel free to check it out. Now, I'm going to do the rest with Champ Training. The next 10 cards, I will do them with Champ Training. And one way to do it is solo dungeons, right? That way you get points for the Gear Ascension tournament and also for the deck. So we're going to use Embrys. As you can see, I have a 6-star soul. So this is not for everybody, okay? This is just how I am doing it, how I optimized it. If you want to see a simple way on how you can build your Embrys, you can also do it in a very, common arena build, but that is not what I'm using here. You can go ahead and check out Final Kenpachi's video. He did a video on this where he uses his arena build, basically. Okay, so go ahead and check it out. It is quite easy to do. Now, one thing you have to keep in mind when you do this, or if you plan to do this, don't use Spirit Affinity Champions. If they take a turn and they get the stacks up, it slows the run down. So just use Magic or Force Affinity. And maybe you already noticed I'm using a deflection set on Embrys here, okay? And the reason why is he's able to deflect the Enfeeble, okay? And that speeds up the run by a lot. And at the same time, he can also deflect the decreased defense or the passive, the block passives, and the run overall will be faster. The fastest run I had so far was 30 seconds. And this is kind of like the average, like around 40 seconds. What I get. But yeah, let's actually do a few more runs here. And by the end of it, we're gonna see how much or how many points I get from these 1,900 energy, right? Yeah, so like I said, this is a very, optimized build to make it as fast as possible. Like I said, 30 seconds is the best, and it goes up to like 40, 45 seconds sometimes. It depends on the RNG from the deflection set, and also weak hits, right? That's another thing that is really important, and why this works. And it also helps to build Embrys, and that is the affinity. Magic affinity is on the boss. We have Force affinity, and that means we naturally have additional 15%. Oh, this is actually a pretty long run, so very bad RNG. Naturally, we have 15% crit rate on Embrys. That means we can build him with 85% crit rate, okay, because of the strong affinity, okay? So you can actually build him just for this and optimize his build, optimize his damage, and build him with 85% crit rate, and he will still crit, as you can see. And then get as much damage. Depending on the soul also, if you have a 6-star, you can go with Crushing Rend, and then not have him in a Death Ignore set. The 20% Death Ignore from the area bonuses help a lot. That speeds it up. But in general, it is not needed, right? You will still take him down. It will just take a little bit longer. If you don't have a 6-star blessing, I would go with Soul Reap, Brimstone, something like that. That would speed it up, but it's also not necessary. I think overall Soul Reap would be the, the best thing that you could do, because it also helps in PvP. But in general, he's not that great in PvP anymore, in my opinion. But yeah, this is basically the idea behind it, okay? Optimize his build to make this as fast as possible. As you can see, the target changed on the Enfeeble. He did not get the Enfeeble again. The target changed on the debuff. And yeah, this is just amazing. This seems like a faster run. Let's actually see. 30 seconds already. So not the fastest. And we got the Enfeeble, so now it's gonna slow it down a little bit. But yeah, I think you get the idea. And this is quite interesting to me, because I never thought of deflection in Shogun, but it seems to be a very interesting thing that speeds the run up if it procs. It's obviously RNG based, but it is very helpful and can speed the run up, or cut the time in half. The only problem with this is that you need a team setup, so you cannot really run in on auto and just do all your multi battles. You gotta swap out the food once it's max level, right? That is like one downside of this, when you have to use a team setup on soloing dungeons, which I don't really like. But if you have the time to, or if okay, I need 20 runs to get the 4 stars to level 40, and then I can swap out the food, just do those 20 runs, and when you come back, you just swap your food out and, hit play again. But you can also use something like RSL Helper or whatever third-party programs that, swap out the food automatically. That works as well, but in general, I don't like to do that. I don't like to use third-party programs too much. I enjoy optimizers because they save a lot of time. But in general, I don't like the idea of it. Obviously, it makes our life so much easier. But yeah, I don't know. It just feels weird to use third-party programs on this. I wish Plarium would give us the options in-game so we don't have to use third-party programs, right? To make our life easier. All right, so we are done. I got 2,000 energy in to Shogun, soloing with Embrys, okay? And we got 8,600 points, so I need, a couple hundred more, and I'm done with this tournament. I definitely want to get that Immortal. And that is something you also have to keep in mind. If you do this, you get points from leveling the food, but also you will have an Immortal Soulstone and an Immortal Soulstone here, so that's 770 points on top for completing this tournament, which might be the last amount of points that you need to do it, okay? And while I was doing this, I actually had a perfect run, and I'm gonna show it right here. All right, so here is the build that I'm using. I have my Embrys in a 4-piece deflection set, as already stated, because then he has a 35% chance to deflect any debuff. That means the Enfeeble can get deflected, and then the run will be faster. I put him in a Zeal set in 2 pieces, actually 4 pieces of Zeal, so 2 sets of Zeal, so to say. And these are the stats. Let's actually add the Shogun stats as well. So yeah, he's at 98k HP. This is the base form. If you want to go for the alternate form where he's actually in most of the time, let's actually do that. So 104k HP on the alternate form, 295 speed, 88% crit rate. As I said, you don't need 100% crit rate for Shogun 25, because Shogun 25 is magic affinity. We have force, we have strong affinity. That means we have naturally the advantage of 15% crit rate. And then 365 crit damage. We have the 20% def ignore. Also, one thing, if you build him with less accuracy than the Shogun, you will always ignore 50% of each enemy's defense with this A2. This is also why I didn't go for a lethal set. Another reason is I have a 6-star blessing, Crushing Rend. And that means he will have 100% def ignore on this from the get-go, okay? From the start. Every time he uses the A3, he will gain another 10% def ignore, stacks up to 50%. And the reason why I gave him Crushing Rend is because I want to have that 100% def ignore on the A1 as well, right? And we're going to go in with 55% def ignore on the A1. We have the 20% from the area bonuses, right? Right here, 20%. Then 35 from the Crushing Rend because Sand Devil, the Shogun is level 350 on stage 25. And then every time we use this, we add another 10%, okay? So eventually we're going to hit 100% def ignore on the A1 as well. But the A2 is ignoring 100% from the get-go. And that's why I went with Zeal. Okay, that's pretty much the idea behind it. Now, there would be a lot of room for improvement here on this build. I only have an HP amulet, so if that was a crit damage amulet or crit damage ascension, that would be another 52% crit damage, and we would get him above 400 crit damage. So then the run would be even faster, most likely. No HP ascension on the chest. Can glyph a lot of HP here. HP ascension. No HP ascension here. So as you can see, there's a lot of room for improvement. This is not a perfect piece. There's no HP percentage, no crit damage on it. No HP percentage, no crit damage on it. But yeah, it works. It works. It works totally fine. And as you saw, 30 seconds is the best that I had. Normally, it depends on the RNG. It's between 30 and 50 seconds. Completely booked, obviously, the second form. And these are the masteries. If I wanted to dedicate him completely to Shogun, I would probably change the masteries from Helm Smasher to Flawless Execution to add another 20% crit damage. But yeah, it's not super necessary, right? Overall, Helm Smasher is better for other content as well. So I think that's why I'm just going to keep it. But with Flawless Execution, it might actually speed the run up a little bit. But that's my build. I have the Wand of Submission. Obviously, you could also go for something else but the wand. Something that adds more damage. For example, the Essence Quencher. Crit damage, attack, HP. It also adds damage depending on the turn meter. You will have 10% more damage in dungeons here from the Dungeon Delver. Or you fit 2 Dungeon Delvers in here, okay? You could do that as well. That's 20% more damage, which is kind of nasty, right? If you think about it, 20% more damage, that would speed the run up as well. But yeah, I don't want to invest too much in it, okay? I just did the bare minimum. As you can see, also my gear is not fully ascended and so on. I'm not going to change the ascensions for it. If I had the ascensions right, I would definitely use them, right? But I didn't invest any dust, any oil or extracts on any of the gear. I had those ascended already, and I'm not going to invest more into it than what I did here. But yeah, that's how I'm doing it. I hope this helps. And you can pretty much use the same thing on our base, okay? You can use the same thing on our base, the deflection set, which is kind of interesting. If you do it like this, it's also speeding up the run. It takes about like a minute. Most important part is this right here, lasting gifts. So you extend the stone skin. But yeah, very interesting stuff with the deflection set. I think it's very helpful and speeds things up in the Shogun if you're trying to solo. But yeah, that's about it for this video, guys. Let me know in the comments below if you enjoyed. If you enjoyed, please hit that like button. Also subscribe to the channel. If you like this video, YouTube's going to think that you like this one as well. Take care and see you in the next one.